Hello guys, this is Jan from Kroscloud, and this tutorial is going to be about the very first steps with Kroscloud. We are going to export 3D scan from photogrammetry software, then we will create an account at Kroscloud, we will upload our scan to it, make some basic adjustments, and finally we will get a link so we can share our model with the world. So let's jump in. We are in reality capture right now, and to upload our model to Kroscloud, we need to export it. So click on Export Model. Here we will rename the file to exp.glb, and very important thing, you need to choose file type to GLB. By default, it's set to OBJ, but Kroscloud works only with GLB files. So choose GLB, click on Save. Here we got the export model dialog. Important options are export textures, it needs to be set to yes. Embedded textures, it needs to be set to yes too. And down there under export transformation settings and scene transformation, rotate X needs to be set to -90, as well as rotate Y needs to be set to -90. These settings will make sure that your model will be oriented in the same way as it is in the reality capture viewer. Click on OK, and that's it. Now you can see that we have our GLB file here. We have our GLB file, so let's switch to Kroscloud and create an account there. Of course, if you already have your account, you can skip this. So now we are at Kroscloud's homepage and we click on Register. Kroscloud supports two ways how to create an account. Kind of classic one is to provide an email address, username and password, and create local account. The other option is to connect Kroscloud with your existing account at Facebook, Google, or Microsoft. In this case, you don't need to create and remember another password, and you will be logging in with your existing credentials. In both cases, after you create your account, you will receive a validation email with a link to confirm you are the owner of the address. Until you validate the email, you won't be able to add any content. Okay, so let's create our account using Google authorization. At this page, you can choose your Google account you want to connect with your Kroscloud account. So I'm going to choose this one, and voila! We have successfully authenticated with Google. Here we can change our Kroscloud username and email. Let's change username to something better as Cross Tutorials. And let's keep the email associated with our Google account. Username must not contain any spaces or special characters, as this is the name that's going to be used for your links. But later on you will create a display username with a user-friendly value. Finally, we need to agree to our terms and conditions, and we can click on Register. Great. We have successfully created our account. But as you can see, there is a warning message that we haven't validated our email yet. So let's go to our inbox. Here we have a confirmation email from Kroscloud with a link to verify the email. So let's click on it. And that's it. We have confirmed our email. Now we can go to My Board. But as a first step, let's take a look at account settings. This is a page where you can find and set up your account. At this part, you can find information about your account type and available space. As we haven't created any content yet and we have free account, there's still 500 megabytes left. General information section. Here we have our account name. We can change it if we want, but then our main page URL will change, so keep this in mind. display name. This is a user-friendly name of your account that's gonna be displayed to your users and visitors. If it's blank, your account name will be used instead. So let's put something readable like Kroscloud tutorials. Email. This is the main email associated with the account, but it cannot be changed. External links. There you can add your web page, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn account. Let's add a web page. It's a URL to Kroscloud documentation site. Facebook username. Our Facebook username is Kroscloud. In these social network fields, you should add only your account name, not the whole URL. So in this case, just Kroscloud, not the whole URL like HTTPS and so on. Looks good now, so let's click on save. Our profile has been updated, it's okay, and go back to my board. Just a quick introduction to account structure. Kroscloud allows to organize your content to folders. Folder is folder. It allows to group content together so you or your visitors will see only related content and not everything in one big messy bag. You can add even description and link to each folder so you can create really unique user experience. Now we are in a root folder with no content and no subfolders. As I said, each folder can have a description and optionally a web link, so let's add some to our root folder by clicking on Edit Folder button. Title cannot be changed for root folder, but let's add some description. And let's add a link to our root folder with the title of Go to Kroscloud documentation. This is gonna be title of our link and link URL Kroscloud.com documentation. Okay, that's it. Let's save it. And now is the right time to upload our first 3D model we exported before from Reality Capture. Let's click on Create New 3D Scene. Before uploading any content, it's a good idea to check the page with minimal requirements and recommendations. This is a huge topic, but long story short. Keep vertex count under 1 million vertices, file size around 50 megabytes, let's say. And what's important, think twice about textures as they are usually the biggest issue from the point of compatibility. Keep their size at most about 3-4K textures. So let's drag and drop our model to this place. While the file is uploading, let's fill in title, first the tutorial, and description. Let's use just lorem ipsum. In this area, we can quickly set up a default camera. Let's change FOV to something wider, like 80 degrees. Looks good now. Let's define a minimum constraint, maximum constraint like this. So user can move now only between these 2 points to not go too close or fly away kinda. And let's define a button polar constraint so user can go kind of under the ground. Double side rendering is okay, and we don't want to disable camera panning. That's it. Let's save it. Great, our first 3D scene is there, uploaded with thumbnail generated based on our default camera. Let's now open the public page of our root folder by clicking on this link, View as Public. This is a public page where you can see all the information we filled in before, when we were setting up our account and root folder. There is our display name, root folder description, link with the title we added to our folder, and on the right side there is a general information about our account, web link, and Facebook page we added to our account. And of course, there is our first 3D scene. As its description is a little bit longer, you can expand it by clicking on this small button. Let's display it in 3D. Okay. Now let's try the constraints we added to our camera. As you can see, we can't go closer than this and fly away more like this. We can't go kinda lower than this. Everything works and looks great even with basic settings. But let's add some sugar. Go back to our admin and open an editor for our new scene. Welcome to the Kroscloud Editor. As this tutorial is about first steps, I won't dig into details, but rather let's go over each menu and quickly see what's there. If you want more information about particular menu, there's a help button for most of them where you find a detailed explanation and tutorial for all its features. Information menu. It's a very simple menu where you can set the title, the description, and if the asset is private or not. Private assets are not displayed on your public folder page, but they are still accessible through a private link. Background menu. Here you can set up background for your model. You can choose from a single color, image, or pano background, also called skybox. We will choose the built-in pano and save it. Looks much better now, right? Camera. Here you can change your camera settings, but as we already did that when uploading the model, we are good to go. Points of interest. This is a fancy feature and offers a lot of options. So for now, we will just add 2 points of interest, one info point and one panoramic point. To add new point, just double click on the model surface. Don't worry too much about its position, we will fine tune it later. Let's create the info point first. Set title to our first info point and description to lorem ipsum because I am not a really good poem. By clicking on this button, you can set up the point's icon, its type, and its size. Let's pick info icon and keep the medium sized icon. And create. One more step. Let's attach our current view, let's say something like this, to the point by clicking on Set a Camera button. If you attach your camera to the point, as user click on the point, the camera will be automatically set to this position. You can simulate this by clicking on Look through a camera. And as you can see, the camera will be set to our saved position. Okay, so now let's other point. This one will be panoramic. If you have already uploaded some panoramic images, you will see them ordered by folders here. But as we didn't upload any pano image yet, let's just drag and drop our pano image to this area. Okay. It will automatically create new panoramic scene. We just need to fill in the basic information as well as set up the default camera. So let's update the title to something meaningful like our first panoramic scene. Camera field of view is set to 90. I think it's okay. And let's change the icon. Eye icon is okay, but let's go with extra large icon. And create. Saving of pano point with new image takes a few seconds as there is a lot of stuff going on in the background. Great. You can see that our new panel point has much bigger icon. Now let's move the points and fine-tune their position by switching Rearrange mode. With this mode on, you can drag and drop the points and move them around your screen. Changes are saved automatically. Okay. That's all for points of interest. Move along to thumbnail. If you are not happy with the generated thumbnail, or you make some changes to your scene and you want to generate new thumbnail, you can do that by clicking on this button. As we added new background, we definitely want a new thumbnail. So let's set the camera to the desired position and click on Generate Thumbnail. Let's go back to our admin, refresh it. You can see two interesting changes here. First one, our 3D model's thumbnail is now with our cool new background. The second one, there is new asset, our panoramic scene that we added as a panoramic point of view. And you can see that it has label private, because panoramas created as a point of view are automatically set to private. So if I click on View as Public to see our folder as a public visitor, you can see that there is only our 3D model. Because the panorama is private, it means it's not displayed in the public folder page. But you can change that, of course, and make your panorama public too. Let's go back to the editor. Layers. Layers are a unique feature of Kroscloud that allows to switch visibility of individual layers in your 3D file to create a really interesting user experience. We are not gonna create layers for our first model, so to quickly show you how it works, let's take a look at one of our projects, 3D Check and its Lunchtime Castle. This scene has 3 layers: the present, 13th century and 15th century. By default, users see only the present, but if he or she long press left mouse button or make a long touch gesture on mobile, the layer is dynamically switched to the 13th century, and user can compare how the castle looked at this time. When user releases the button or touch, layer is switched back to the present. How awesome is that? Of course, user can also permanently switch the layer by clicking on the layer button here and choosing the proper century. As you can see, each layer can have its own set of points of interest. This is a game-changing feature, and it allows you to create completely new experience for users. If you want to learn more about it, go for Layers tutorial. So let's finally continue to Share menu. In this menu, you can generate public link to your scene, so you can easily share it. Or if you want to embed your scene at your own web page, you will find an iframe tag here. There is a couple of options, but it's outside of scope of this tutorial. If you want to learn more, click on the Help button. And that's all for the menus. At the right of the screen, you will find 3 important buttons: link to the documentation page, link to a public viewer, and exit button. The link to the public viewer is super helpful. By clicking on it, you will display how the scene looks for public, so you can easily check the changes you made. And there is our final result. You can see 2 new points of interest: the info point with interesting lorem ipsum text and attached camera position, and our new panoramic point. Isn't that awesome? Can you imagine all the possibilities and different scenarios that these features allows? And that's it. You successfully created your first 3D scene at Kroscloud. Thanks a lot for watching and stay tuned.